Hey, everybody. I thought I'd just sit down here in front of my favorite quilt right there and tell you a story. So yesterday, somebody asked me on my Facebook page, Kelly, how did you start making pincushions? And she said, I'm new. I don't know your story. How did you get to this point? And I thought, well, people who have followed me for a long time know that, but a lot of people don't. So here's my 5-minute brief, I'll try to be brief story. So in 2019, I had been diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time in April, May of 2019. And I had a lumpectomy. So by August, I was doing radiation. At that time, I was speaking, teaching, traveling, long arming, all the things. I had to postpone my summer of travel so that I could have radiation. So it was August, and I had it every day in August, and I was driving to the hospital back and forth. It was about a mile from my house. But I went through downtown one day, and I stopped at my favorite quilt shop, Stitch On in Lawrence, Kansas. I stopped in there and thought, I will just pick up something, maybe some handwork, something kind of mindless, because I didn't feel like working on big quilts on my long arm. I didn't feel like doing much. I was kind of tired. And I just thought, I'll find something fun to do. So I went in and bought a pincushion book. So it was called Pin Pals. Bought some crushed walnuts. What else? I think that was mostly what I bought. And I thought I'll go home and make a pincushion because I didn't have any pincushions. I did not have any pincushions. So I thought I'll make me a pincushion. So I went home and I had all the stuff and I used vintage fabric because that's pretty much all I buy and all I have. So I made the pincushion on the first page and I used lots of little tiny, like 1-inch squares of vintage fabric. It wasn't feed sack then, but it was just old. So I made that pincushion and I showed it on my page, like I share everything. And somebody said, is that for sale? And I said, I guess so. Like, I guess. Sure. So I sold it for $18. I would kind of like to know who bought that first pincushion because maybe it's collectible. I don't know. So she bought it for $18 and then I made another one because somebody said, are you going to make any more? And I said, oh, I'll make another one. Then I made another one. I never looked at that book again. I realized that I had all the things around me because I had all the laces, the embroideries, the things, because that's what I use in my long arm quilting and in my creating. And that's what I was teaching, was how to make things out of your vintage parts and pieces. So I just kind of continued. And then in that spring, it was February, March, COVID hit. And so COVID just really wiped out all of my travel, all of my speaking, teaching, everything. So I just started making pincushions, a lot of pincushions, because I thought, well, that's a job. I'll just sell pincushions. So I did that, and it worked well, and you all bought them. Back then, there were no labels. I think I just signed them. That was 2020. And then by fall of 2020, people were saying, I can't get your pincushions. How can I get a pincushion? And you can't order a pincushion. I make pincushions because I am in a mood or I feel like making a pincushion. So I had an idea to have somebody film me making one and do a class. So we did that. So I found Madison, and she was a KU student, and she came over with a mask because we were still in COVID times, and she filmed me. She edited, she did everything. So we made a 1-hour class, and I will link it in the description here. But we made a 1-hour class that people buy. It's $40. You own it forever. So you can go on, do a workshop with me. It's pre-recorded, and learn how to make my pincushions. So that kind of worked. It's done well, and a lot of people are in that group. And we also have a private Facebook page. So you buy the class, in the welcome segment will be how to get into our Facebook group. Anyway, so I decided not to go back to teaching, traveling, speaking, and I just started making pincushions. So I had the class. I've made pincushions ever since then. I quilt for myself. I don't quilt for hire. I don't speak. I don't travel unless I do retreats, which are pincushion retreats. And those I schedule through the the pincushion group that's private. So I book those all through that group of people. Let me just say, who knew that when I made a pincushion, I would create this crazy, cool world? I have made so many great friends through pincushions. Like, who knew? Who knew? I could not have guessed this. And I'm going to tell you that sometimes life just takes you on a turn. And it's fabulous. I think sewing, I think creating, making of any kind is a therapy. And I can tell you during my cancer, that was a therapy. I had a second cancer this spring, so I had a double mastectomy. I am doing well. I'm happy. I have no more worries. I stayed flat. I'm very happy with that. And, no more mammograms. So, folks, get your mammograms. Please get your mammograms for me. Anyway, so I continue to make pincushions. They make people happy. They make me very happy. So the therapy and the joy that I get from making pincushions is big. So I can't think I'll ever stop making them unless I can't, because I love making them. They are one of a kind. Each one is a challenge. They're made with vintage embroideries, vintage feed sacks, so original feed sack fabric. So everything on them is old. And I think they bring back a lot of memories for people. And for me, they're just, it's kind of, each one is a challenge. Each one is new and different. Each one is its own design, fresh design. So, I love them. I love that I have people that have come along with me. I love having a tribe of people that loves to make things. So that's the story. And I'm 6 years making pincushions, so I'm sure I will keep it up. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for following me in this journey. And have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye-bye.